Hi, everybody. I'm Dennis Daly. I spent 20 years with United Press International, most of it with the old UPI Radio network. And my favorite assignment was going on the road producing and hosting American Montage. It was an hour-long weekly program. Now here's an edited version of one of those shows. And in this YouTube segment, something a little different, something I did before American Montage, when I was in a local radio back in Indiana. I had the chance, through a friend of mine, to interview by phone the great cartoonist Charles Schulz. The quality is not the best, but I think you'll enjoy Mr. Schulz's concepts and his feelings about being the world's best-known cartoonist. The first thing I wanted to ask him was it right in thinking that he had a very difficult time getting that first Charlie Brown Christmas special on the air?
Yes, and it's hard to believe now, after all these years have gone by, that we had a real difficulty getting it on the air. No one seemed to want it. No one seemed to think that it really could hold up or that it would have enough appeal. But it's been on a long time now, and I think the other specials have proved that there is some kind of appeal there.
Something I've always wondered about, and that is the audience, before audio was added, probably had a preconceived notion as to what the characters sounded like. Was it difficult to find the right child actors to match the personality of Charlie Brown and the other characters?
Well, it was extremely difficult, but we had been doing it for several years when we were doing commercials for the Ford Motor Company, and even then we had a great deal of difficulty. Many people wanted to give Snoopy a voice, and we fought against that. We had some Hollywood types who were good at imitating different strange and humorous voices, tried to imitate the things that Snoopy was thinking, but fortunately we held off and refused to go that route. And I think our hardest voice has always been Charlie Brown. It's hard to get a voice which is kind of bland, but as the years have gone by, we've discovered that there seems to be patterns to these children's voices, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to tell the Charlie Browns, which we are now using, from the original ones, in the same way with the Linuses and the Lucys and all of that. Lucy tends to get a little bit shrill now and then, so we cut down in her line so that she doesn't do too much screaming.
Have you used a lot of different child actors as Charlie Brown over the years?
Oh, I suppose 4 or 5, maybe more, because we've also done 3 movies, and we've had to do Charlie Brown voices for those, too.
I know if you look at the credits at the end of the Charlie Brown specials, you see an awful lot of people involved, particularly in what's called additional blandishment, which is part of the cartoon process. Is it a long interval between when you first put, say, the storyboard together and then Vince Guaraldi gets that great music together to when the special is finally finished?
I think they estimate that for each half-hour show, there are approximately 30,000 drawings required. Now, this means that Bill Melendez, who runs the studio and hires all of the animators, supervises the whole production, and Lee Mendelson, who is the producer to make sure that it is on television, would like to have about 6 months to do these shows. Now, in the case of the Christmas show, I think he had to get it done in about only 4 months. So there were a lot of shortcuts which he had to take in the drawing, which we now wish that we could polish up as we look back upon those things. But 6 months is almost required to do a good job.
It must feel kind of weird for you there sitting at your cartoon drawing table who created these characters to realize that you can't do all those tens of thousands of cells, as they call them, and that other people have to draw the character. It must feel kind of funny to see your child, as it were, being drawn by other people.
Yes, and the difficulty, of course, is that animation is different from drawing a comic strip. In a comic strip, we don't have to solve the problem of motion or the rotation of, say, someone's head, because we just go from a side view to a direct front view. We just jump from one to the other. Now, in animation, you have to make this rotation fairly gradual. It is not as bad as it used to be, say, 25 or 30 years ago when animation studios were going to a very complete, almost lifelike animation. But that really isn't, I think, even practical, because cartooning is still cartooning, and there's no sense in drawing things which are lifelike, because then you might as well use live actors.
I know you grew up in Minnesota, and your love of skating, for example, really shows in many of the Charlie Brown cartoons, as well as your love of holidays. It's kind of neat the way you're able to work all of these American holidays, not only into the daily comic strip, but also into many of the television specials, including the off-the-wall holiday, Halloween.
I think anything that helps break up our years and gives all of us a little more joy is worthwhile. I like holidays, although from a personal standpoint, holidays destroy my schedule, and I hate to have anything that interrupts my week. But I think holidays are wonderful things, not only for adults, but especially for children. I like holidays, special days like Valentine's Day and Halloween and things like that. Christmas, unfortunately, seems to fill too many people with guilt, and Christmas also means that it emphasizes the loneliness that is in the lives of many people. This is kind of regrettable, because we're always trying to live up to an image which really doesn't exist. We're always trying to pretend that our families and others are like the kind that you see in magazines. Everything is colorful and bright and gay and shining, and everyone is laughing, and it doesn't always work out that way, and then we wonder why, and we feel guilty about it. There's no place for many people to go, which is one of the things that I'm so proud of with this ice arena which we have here in Santa Rosa. It's a beautiful place, and we have a large, comfortable coffee shop, and you'll discover that many people spend almost every night there simply because it's a place to hang out where they'll see friends, and no one is going to tell them, well, you can't, you have to give up your table now because you've already had your cup of coffee or whatever it is. There aren't many places for some people to go. Charles
Schulz, when you were a young cartoonist starting out, I'm sure you had no idea what a dynasty you would create, but as Peanuts caught on and the TV specials started, did you quickly realize that all of that would become a part of Americana? I mean, particularly the Charlie Brown Christmas special, and the whole idea of Charlie Brown at Christmas is as much a part of Christmas as, say, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, did you think that was ever going to happen?
Yeah, I guess I did. I enjoy kind of startling people that way, but you see, it's a lot like a person who dreams of winning Wimbledon or becoming the heavyweight champion of the world or something like that. I always, ever since I was about 6 years old, dreamed of having a comic strip. And, of course, there are a lot of things that I couldn't envision. But I never dreamed that Snoopy would go to the moon, for instance, that he would become part of that whole space program, and all sorts of things. I never thought that I would think of the phrase, happiness is a warm puppy, and find that happiness has become probably one of the most copied phrases in our language. And I never thought that Linus's security blanket would make it to the dictionary. You look up in the dictionary now, and the word security blanket is in the dictionary, and it wasn't in there before. So a lot of these things have happened, and they're delightful and surprising. So I guess you're right. I just couldn't anticipate these things, but it makes me happy.
Well, Charles Schulz, what joy you and your little characters have brought to us for a very long time. Thanks for joining us here on the phone.
I appreciate your calling.
Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about? Sure, Charlie Brown. I can tell you what Christmas is all about. Rice, please. And there were in the same country shepherds, abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them. And the glory of the Lord shone round about them. That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown. Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown!
And so, way back into the archives for a not-too-good quality telephone interview, but glad we have it, with the late cartoonist Charles Schulz. And there you have it, another edited episode of one of the American Montage programs prepared for the UPI Radio Network back in the 1980s and 90s. I'm Dennis Daly. Thanks for listening. Thanks for going with me this week. And check YouTube for more American Montage programs.